Let's give a big hand.
Jackson Brown.
There's a lot going on in the world right now. So I wanted to dedicate our dinner to a few things. One is, I don't know if everybody's seen this story that's been out, but currently in 23 cities across America, it has become a crime to feed people. There is a reverend in Fort Lauderdale, Reverend Abbott. He's 90 years old. He's a veteran. He's being arrested by their mayor 3 times. So they're putting this guy in cuffs, throwing him in jail because he continues to publicly feed homeless people. This is what he's being charged with, and I want everybody to listen to this and understand why I consider this Third Reich policy. He is being charged with sustaining life.
Oh, what?
Sustaining life. So that means they want these folks to die that he's feeding. I don't see anything else it could mean. And when I saw that the charges were sustaining life, I was like, wow, this is getting scary out there. And 23 cities across America have made feeders a top priority arrest. So the people that you see that bring sandwiches, harm reduction sandwiches down to Golden Gate Park in front of City Hall, all of those folks are at risk of arrest. And I've always been at risk of arrest for other reasons of what I do. But now, you know, and that's one of the reasons why we don't do things outside and why I keep saying that this is a private dinner club, because it gives me the legal wiggle room to say that I am not doing a public feeding. And that is really sad. It is really sad when you outlaw people. What?
What about St. Anthony's and Glide? Are they at risk?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, they have dining.
Not at all.
They've got
not at all.
they have
not at all.
dining rooms.
Because it's not. They registered. They've paid the right people. They are a nonprofit organization.
Let me play the devil's advocate. Are they publicly feeding?
No. Just like we're not publicly feeding right now, because they're not just they have their own church that's under the realm of the church, right? So when this man in Fort Lauderdale, who is also a Christian, he's a reverend, he's 90 years old, and he goes and gives a sandwich to anyone that's hungry in public where people can see people feeding people, they're afraid that that might catch on and that people might survive.
Oh my God.
Do you see what I'm saying? Why it's so scary of what they're charging the feeders for? And so we need a revolution of feeders. People need to talk about this. Talk about it to people that you encounter and say, did you know that they are arresting people for caring for other people? And that is very Nazi. That is very Third Reich. That is... they're supposed to just go away and die.
The state doesn't allow you to have food stamps unless you test clean.
There's some states that are doing that, but the interesting thing about what she just brought up is that when they instituted, hey you guys, when they instituted the drug testing of food stamp recipients in one of the states that did this, there was only 3 people that turned up dirty. Okay, so it's not working the way they want it to work. It's not taking...
Do it this way, public feeding.
Right, but I mean the thing is, they want, you know, the majority of people receiving food stamps identify as white or Caucasian, and the majority of people on that are children. So we're talking about poor people trying to feed their children, getting villainized, and then they put them through these drug tests, and they weren't showing up dirty, so it didn't quite work the way they wanted it to work. The other people I want to dedicate our gathering also to the family of Michael Brown.
Yeah.
Tonight is the first night his mother is going to sit at her Thanksgiving table without her son. And that is so sad, you know, so I want to send some love to her tonight, right? Are you with me, you guys? Let's get some love to the Brown family. Let's wish them Thanksgiving. And then I also just want to acknowledge that this is my family's first Thanksgivings without my grandmother. So, you know, and death is death, and it wasn't that tragic. She was almost 3 digits. So I figure, you know, when you're almost 3 digits, you know, it's time. It's all right, you know. Yeah, but I just wanted to put that out there to my family because I know it's the first Thanksgiving without my grandmother. And then I want to just give a little tiny policy update before we get back to some music and dessert and such. And that is, watch what your state legislator is going to be doing in January. I have no idea what proposals are going to be put out there, but the word that we've heard is that one group, Drug Policy Alliance, which is a national lobbying firm, is going to try to do to California what was done to the state of Washington, and that's putting medical cannabis under the alcohol beverage control, which is a terrible idea. It is a terrible idea. And some of the history of that is ABC was actually in California, all the old bootleggers. So it was all the old gangsters that got to become the ABC and get their friends the bar license and the liquor license and etc. And when this happened last time at the state legislature, I know, when it happened last time at the state legislature, it was actually the Cops Association that got up and said, why would you do this? The ABC in California is notoriously corrupt. So we know we at least have one group of lobbyists that are going to go for it. And it's so funny because it's law enforcement, because they know that ABC is pretty corrupt. You've got AxisOfLove not going for it, and ironically, it may be the one agreement we have with Americans for Safe Access, the first round in January. And I will be trying to get us all up there for that. We're also looking at a pretty scary reality of the 2016 legalization thing because, you know, when you just have the money people really focused on the adult recreational, you have a lot of pushback against medical cannabis and actually getting medicine to people that use it as medicine. So there's a difference in my mind. Hey folks, there's a difference in my mind between therapeutic use or adult use and medical use. Me having to smoke a joint in order to not have a seizure is different than my uncle smoking a joint while he's watching the games today, right?
Right.
Now, that's therapeutic. It's good. It has a therapeutic effect on everyone, but it's not being used as a medical need.
Going all right. It's an exciting night with the veterans bill going on in Congress. I don't know if you guys briefed people on that at all. It's been entered as a standalone bill to have the Veterans Administration be able to recommend medical cannabis in medical cannabis states, which is giving licensure to federally employed medical professionals to make this recommendation, which in a way is also signaling that medical use is valid.
So it's validating what we've known all willing to admit it and drop the lies and help people finally. Is that what what actually is going on? And do you think that this bill will pass with the new Congress?
You know, that's something that people have been discussing in the background today, even over here at the AxisOfLove Clubhouse, is are we going to get it through a Republican Congress? And, you know, it's interesting because a lot of other veterans' issues didn't fare very well with the Republicans, but since this is also a states' rights issue, it'll be interesting to see, but nonetheless, AxisOfLove, who's had a veterans group now for over a decade, is going to be releasing a press release on Monday urging everyone to call Congress, call your representatives, and vote in favor of this, because we know that for people with post-traumatic stress, often a lot of the psych meds actually make it worse. And one of the only things that our veterans say help relieve them, give them a sense of being wellness and able to sleep at night and therefore function during the day is medical cannabis, and it doesn't have any of the toxicity and the side effects that they don't want.